All right. We're going to talk right now about some data. And I'm going to turn you over to the very capable hands of Mr. Young. And he's going to talk to you about some data. All right.
Yes, we have to look at data in order to know what our need is. Because everything that we do needs to be data driven. It needs to go back to data. Otherwise, we're just pulling out the wind, trying to figure out what we're going to do. Or we may be looking at our students, and Ms. Manchesky may say, well, my students need this skill. Ms. Thompson may say, my students need a different skill. But what we want to do is we want to look at the whole school and see what the needs of the students are in our entire school. And based on that, we look at data from last year's LEAP and iLEAP test scores to determine, or to help to determine where we should go in terms of focus. We want to narrow our focus. And we also want to see where we could get the biggest bang for our buck in terms of increasing our test scores. So if you look here, I have a chart for each grade level with their test scores and their data results. And as we go through it, this is a 4th grade LEAP score from 2006 spring and 2007. Okay. And if you notice in 2007, in that, mine is color coded because it's for me. You can kind of look at your black and white copy. Just follow my finger. If you look at the spring 2007, you see that second bar is the green bar, and that is writing. And you see that that's our weakest area in 4th grade. And as well, on the next page, we have 5th grade. Now, if you look here on that second bar, yeah, you might have to turn 2 pages to get the 5th grade. Yeah, that's iLEAP. Now you see here, the lowest bar we have reading comprehension, read and respond. That's the lowest there, but writing is not that far off. That's 47%. So you have to couple that with what you looked at for 4th grade. We're going to look at an average is what we're looking at. So someone might look at 5th grade and say, oh, well, read and respond is the area we should go with. But we have to keep going with our data.
And Mr. Young, let me interrupt and just throw in some data quickly, because we're talking about read and respond, and then we're looking at the writing as well. But I want to share with you some data from some research, actually, from Tierney and Shanahan in 1991. And their research suggests that giving students the opportunity to write in conjunction with reading fosters more critical thinking and comprehension skills. And not only did Tierney and Shanahan find that to be so in 1991, but McCrindle and Christenen in 1995 found the same research. So it was duplicated in both areas. So when we work with writing in conjunction with reading, it actually causes reading scores to improve. Just want to throw that in.
Now she's quoted all the researchers, but that really came from me. I'm just giving them the credit, but that's my stuff. Okay, but let's get back to this. So as I was saying, and as Ms. Alexander said, they do go hand in hand. But if we want to narrow our focus, is the thing that we're looking at. So then when we go to 6th grade, which again is iLEAP, that green section, you see that again, writing is our lowest area. Okay? And it just goes on and on with 7th grade as well, which we're at 51%. We have something that is a little lower, but when we look at the average of all of those grade levels, those test grade levels, we see that writing is the area where we need the most improvement. And now as 1st and 2nd grade teachers, some might say, well, how does that impact us? We're not a testing grade. Of course, your children at some point will have to face the test. And if they, next year for 2nd grade teachers. So if they have that foundation built in lower grade, it makes it that much easier when they get to a testing grade, and it also makes it that much easier for the teachers to take those students and just go with it. And in addition to looking at the standardized test data, we always want to go to our Bible, called the assessment guide. The state assessment guide, because once you have looked at the data, from previous years or past years. Now we want to know, okay, what do the children need to know to prepare? And that's where the assessment guide comes in. After looking through the assessment guide, and I'm not going to go through all of these sheets, but I pull these things from the assessment guide so that we know what's going to be tested. And at going through here, almost every area pointed out constructive response. And so that's going to help us with writing. If we're looking at something where we're going to get the biggest bang, we want to look at something that's going to cross content area. And constructive response does that. It has constructive response, of course, in the ELA section. It has it in the math section. It has it in science and social studies section. And so that just made sense to me. If we're going to focus on writing, let's focus on something where we can get the most in all those areas. Okay? So that is the reason why, that is what led us to saying that our need at Burma is going to be critical thinking in the area of writing.